welcome into the Postgame show, everybody. Altitude Sports Radio. I'm Dan Tanner, your host for In the Paint. This game is about to go final down at Ball Arena. The Nuggets hold a 126-115 lead over the Orlando Magic to hopefully get their 20th win of the season. The clock is counting down to zero right now. The Magic are just dribbling the air out of the basketball, and that will do it. 126-115 is your final. What a win for the Nuggets. What a crazy basketball game we witnessed at Ball Arena tonight. This was a game of runs for both teams. Back and forth runs. We just saw the Orlando Magic go on a 15-3 run there towards the end of the fourth quarter, but the Nuggets were able to hold on and get the victory as they secure their 20th win on the season. They're now 20-6 on the year. Nikola Jokic gets another triple-double. He had another great milestone tonight, becoming the highest assisting center in NBA history. He has the most assists for a center in NBA history. In fact, Scott's talking to Joker right now. Let's see if we can play a little bit of Joker with Scott Hastings. Let me share my screen here real quick. No, I don't think it's going to let me. There we go. All right, there's Scott with Nikola Jokic as the Nuggets get the win. Yeah, you heard Scott just mention it there. He passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to become the number one center in NBA history for assists. So he is officially now the best passing big man in NBA history. What a win for the Denver Nuggets. What a night for Nikola Jokic. What a night for Jamal Murray, everybody. Holy cow. So let's just start there when we're talking about the actual game. No Peyton Watson tonight for the Nuggets, so they're down Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, and Peyton Watson. By the way, they did, if you're watching on the broadcast, they did show video of Christian Brown in practice dunking, which is a great sign. They were saying on the broadcast tonight, it looks like he's ramping up to come back sooner rather than later. I have a feeling Christian Brown's going to be back well before Aaron Gordon will be. Hamstrings are just so tricky, and you've got to ramp up slowly if you're Aaron Gordon dealing with a hamstring injury. But it was great to see Christian Brown dunking the basketball in workouts over the last couple of days. So it looks like they could be getting one of their starters back. Julian Strawther was back tonight. That was awesome to see. Didn't play a whole lot, but it's just good to see that they're starting to slowly get some of these depth pieces back. And Julian is a depth piece for the Nuggets. So that was awesome to see too. And then, Peyton Watson missed tonight's game with a right trunk contusion. So hopefully P-Watt is not out for super long. I haven't gotten any updates on how long he's going to be out, but we'll see. Okay, so the game tonight, really sloppy start for the Nuggets. I mean, they couldn't play a lick of defense at various points throughout this game. They just seemed to have lapses in defense, but especially that first quarter tonight, really sloppy start. They were turning the ball over way too much. In fact, the Magic early on, like 2 minutes into the second quarter, Orlando had 12 points off of Nuggets turnovers. That's a stat where you don't want to give up more than 15 or 16 points in a game off of turnovers. And the Nuggets gave up 12 just 14 minutes into the game. So they were way too sloppy to start this game. We did see Big Val and Jokic minutes early with about 3 minutes to go there in the first quarter. It seems like Adelman is going to that lineup not just solely for matchup reasons, but it almost seems like when the Nuggets are struggling defensively, he likes to get two bigs out on the floor at the same time, maybe just to add a little bit of more size around the rim, more rim protection. The Magic were getting to the rim, I thought, really easily. in the first half of this game, in the first quarter of this game, I should say. And it just seems like Adelman is going to these guys, that big man lineup with Nikola Jokic and Jonas Valanciunas on the court together at the same time. And, it seems like it started to give Orlando a bit of problems, at least driving to the rim. The problem for the Nuggets was Orlando was just on fire from three to start this game, and the Nuggets started shooting 1 of 10 from three. Now, those inverted in the second quarter, but I thought in that first quarter, the Magic they were mixing in some zone that seemed to be giving the Nuggets some issues, and they're a long, athletic, versatile defense. They've got a lot of good defenders on that team. They're 6th in defensive rating so far this year. In fact, in the previous 2 seasons, they were, I believe, 2nd and 3rd in defensive ratings the 2 previous seasons. So this is a very good defensive team. And I thought they did a really good job on Jamal Murray in that first quarter. They were not allowing him to touch the basketball. They were denying Jamal Murray the ball, who only had 3 shot attempts in that first quarter. And he finished with 3 points in that first quarter. So it was one of those games where it just seemed like Jamal Murray was not involved in the offense hardly at all. And in fact, another thing I thought was weird to start this game, Bruce Brown started tonight for Peyton Watson, which I'm fine with, by the way. In fact, I think I prefer Bruce Brown starting over a guy like Tim Hardaway because Tim Hardaway's a better shooter. I like better shooters coming off the bench because the bench needs shooting, especially when Nikola Jokic isn't out there. But what was weird with the Nuggets offense to me in that first quarter was they weren't getting the 2-man game going between Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. They were running a ton of action and running the 2-man game with Bruce Brown and Nikola Jokic. So I thought that was a little odd. I think part of that was due to, and give credit to Orlando. They just, the game plan clearly coming into this thing was we're not going to let Jamal Murray beat us. Well, in the first quarter, it worked. It worked quite well, actually. Like I said, he only took 3 shot attempts in that first quarter and ended the first quarter with just 3 points. And in fact, the Magic led 32-25 after the first. So the game plan worked to start the game. And then comes the second quarter. So, yeah, like I said, they give up. They started the second quarter with a bunch of turnovers again. Second unit started out a little rough, but then Joker comes back in at about the 6.5-minute mark of that second quarter. That's when the momentum started to shift. That's where he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most assists by a center in NBA history. But here's the moment I thought the momentum really shifted in this basketball game. Jalen Pickett. Shout out to Jalen Pickett. I thought he was phenomenal tonight. Boy, I think he earned himself some more minutes. He was great. Jalen Pickett comes in and hits a 3. I believe it was a corner 3. And then Jamal Murray hit a 3. So they get back-to-back 3s from Jalen Pickett and Jamal Murray at about the 6-minute mark of that second quarter. That brought the lead for the Magic down to 47-39. You could feel the energy in the building shift after those back-to-back 3s from Jalen Pickett and Jamal Murray. You could tell the momentum had started to swing back in the Denver Nuggets' favor at that point. And then Orlando took a timeout, and you always wonder, like, ooh, hopefully that timeout didn't kill the Nuggets' momentum there. It didn't, because out of that timeout, Jamal hits another 3. They go on an 11-0 run after those, including those back-to-back 3s from Jalen Pickett and Jamal Murray. And then Jamal Murray just went nuclear. He went absolutely nuclear. In that second quarter, 20 points, 7 of 8 from the field, 5 of 6 from 3. He was a plus 26 in the second quarter. Is there another player in the NBA right now that when they get hot can go as nuclear as Jamal Murray can? Now, I get it. There's been players in the past that have been able to do that, namely Steph Curry, future Hall of Famer. He was able to do that. Even I'll throw Klay Thompson in there. Like when Klay Thompson got hot, it wasn't just hot. He goes ballistic. That's where Jamal Murray's at right now. When he gets it going, he can get as hot as anybody can in the NBA, to the point where he's shooting a step back three and he's banking it in. So that was great to see. 20 points for Jamal Murray in that second quarter. The Nuggets ended the second quarter on a 22-3 run and led 68-54 at halftime. But I'm telling you, in my opinion, the momentum really shifted and this game turned around like that when Jalen Pickett and Jamal Murray hit those back-to-back threes in the second quarter after Nikola Jokic came back into the game. I thought that was really, for me, one of the defining sequences in tonight's game. So to the third quarter we go. And now it's the Magic's turn to go back kind of on a run. Paolo Banchero, I thought, really started to insert himself into this game. In fact, he finished tonight with a triple-double. He was really good tonight. And they got the lead down to 90-79. To start the third, the Nuggets actually ballooned the lead up to 20-plus points. But Banchero started getting things going, and they trimmed the lead down to 11. And at that point, I thought the Orlando Magic had regained momentum to get the deficit to 92-83. So the Nuggets kind of claw their way back there at the end of the third quarter and end up taking a 99-85 lead into the fourth quarter. So they led by 14 at halftime. They end up leading by 14 at the end of the third quarter. And then the fourth quarter, I thought the second unit was great. Tim Hardaway hit a three. That's now 10 straight games for THJ, getting to double figures in scoring. Awesome to see. And the Nuggets started that fourth on an 11-6 run. And then again, I thought the Orlando started getting the momentum back there in the fourth quarter again. And then Jalen Pickett and Jamal Murray hit back-to-back threes for the second time in this game that I thought really swung the momentum back in Denver's favor, and that put them up 118-100. And at that point, Orlando tried to mount a comeback, but it was just too late. So awesome win for the Nuggets. They get their 20th win of the season. They're 20-6 on the year. All right, let's get DMAC here on the show. DMAC.
Hey, Dan.
Just got done watching the Nuggets take down the Orlando Magic. Want to get your thoughts on the game, but I was just talking about this. I thought there were two significant momentum-shifting moments in tonight's game. And it was not the awesome Nikola Jokic, like, dribble in between his legs on the fast break. That was sweet. But I thought in the second quarter, with about 6.5 minutes to go, Nikola Jokic had just come back into the game. Jalen Pickett hits a three, and then Jamal Murray hit a three. To me, that was a massive momentum swing. You could feel it in the building, even through the television. So those back-to-back threes by Jalen Pickett and Jamal Murray, that brought the Magic lead down to 47-39.
Yeah.
And I wrote in my notes, I'm like, wow, this feels like a momentum shift is coming.
Yeah.
And then out of the timeout, Orlando calls a timeout. Jamal hits another three. The Nuggets in the second quarter on a 22-3 run. And then in the fourth quarter, when Orlando started to get the momentum back, Jalen Pickett and Jamal Murray hit back-to-back threes again to balloon the lead to 118-100. I thought those were the two big sequences in the game that really helped get the momentum back in the Nuggets' favor.
Yeah, this was a come-from-behind win. I didn't feel like that, depending on, I suppose, when you tuned into the game. I don't think they were taking Orlando lightly. I know Adelman wasn't. Boy, he talked about it incessantly, how good Orlando was and what you had to watch out for. So, boy, it's been interesting watching Jalen Pickett, right? And in a game where Peyton Watson's not going, and you're running out of guys to a certain degree. Bruce Brown gets the start, which is awesome. No problems there. But you need somebody to make some big shots. So Jamal's been sick, Dan, by the way. I mean,
he has.
I mean, it's just unbelievable what he's done.
I thought you meant like cold sick. I got you.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable what he's done. So it's another great night for him. I'm glad to see contributions come from Jalen Pickett. Glad to see big threes come from Cam Johnson. Nikola. Watch, did he actually finish with a triple-double or not?
I believe he did.
He did. Look at that.
Yeah.
23, 11, 13, because he was kind of hovering there. So he does finish with a triple-double. I don't know, man. This team is something else, bro. They are just something else.
It was cool to see. We're starting to see the Jokic Val on the court together a little bit more frequently. And I had a theory that I brought up before you came on, DMAC, as to why Adelman's choosing to do that. So that he did it tonight at about the 3-minute mark of the first quarter. And it almost seems like Adelman's choosing to roll that duo, the Twin Towers, out there together when the Nuggets are struggling on the defensive end. And specifically, I thought the Magic the Nuggets were making it way too easy on them to get to the rim in that first quarter. And I think that's what Adelman is trying to do. I'd be curious, maybe next week we can ask him about that. Like, what is your philosophy on when Jokic and Val play together? Like, what are you looking for in the game that makes him decide to do that? And it seems like when they're struggling defensively, specifically when teams are getting to the rim too easily, that's when he's going to that lineup. At least that's what happened tonight, because I thought the Orlando Magic were getting to the rim way too easy, and they were hitting threes in the first. So, man, the NBA is always a game of runs, D, but tonight felt like a game of runs on steroids. I mean, it was like the momentum shifts in this game were crazy.
Yeah.
22-3 run for the Nuggets to end the second quarter. Yeah. Jamal goes ballistic. I mean, wow. Like the runs in tonight's game was, I don't think I've seen a game of runs quite like that back and forth from a Nuggets game so far this season.
Yeah, it's any scoring can happen, obviously, at Ball Arena. There's always going to be plenty of scoring. The question is, will you play the requisite amount of defense that can make the difference? And the Magic were going on a run at the end of the game. Like, I was like, all right, guys. And then Cam Johnson hit a three. And that always seems to quell whatever run's going on, a convenient three. But you can't tell me you weren't feeling that right there. And, I mean, you go from up 18 to up 6 within like 2 minutes, Dan. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
But that's why these coaches don't sleep well, and no lead is ever safe. I mean, to limit to a team like the Nuggets did to the Magic to 115. I mean, the Nuggets are gonna win the vast majority of the games, Dan, this year if they keep the teams to under 120 points. They just are. That's just the truth of it. So it's not like you've got to be some sort of unbelievably good defensive team. But that seems to be the magic number defensively this year for the Nuggets.
Yeah, well, they're such a good offensive team. That's Scott's rules. D, I'm going to pause our combo here for a sec because we've got David Adelman talking. Let's hear a little bit from the head coach. Let me share my screen here, make sure we're good to go. Yeah. So I finally figured out how to do this on my screen, D-Mac. You should be proud of me.
I am proud of you.
All right, we're a
work in progress for everything. Trust me.
Here's the head coach of your Denver Nuggets.
Our G League team, going to the showcase, it's important to me to mention that. If you follow our team, you should follow them because we have guys that are on our team, on that team. So if people get bored, please check out the showcase. These kids, they play.
Coach is right.
Okay, so there is Coach Adelman. DMAC, thoughts on what Adelman had to say there?
Well, I mean, he's pointing out Jalen Pickett, and that's really good. And he emphasized the G League tournament as well, which is cool. I'd love to watch that for sure. I want to see how Deron Holmes is progressing and, the other guys down there, Tanner Bates and the rest. So I want to see all of that. And that's cool. But when you're on the big team, You're not there just to sit on the bench. You've got to contribute. Or why are you there? You might as well just be living in Grand Rapids if that's the case. Julian Strother coming back, by the way, tonight, Dan. I mean,
Yep.
I get you. He's got to slowly get back to shape, so I don't expect anything huge out of him. But you do see over the course of a season, and I think that's what Coach Adelman was pointing out, to get through an entire 82-game season, Dan, you need contributions basically from everybody on your roster at some point, or there's no point on being on the roster. So really happy to see that out of Jalen Pickett. That's awesome. And we talked about that a little bit earlier too. So yeah, good solid win. Again, I don't think they were taking them lightly. They shouldn't take them lightly, but it is really difficult for East Coast teams to come here to Denver, because not only is it Denver, but most likely they're on some sort of other Western road trip, right? With Utah or the Clippers or, Sacramento or whatever. So you just do to these teams what you need to do. And they took care of business. They sustained they held off the runs. They came from behind. Jamal Murray's an all-star. Jokic with the triple-double. And then the frosting on the cake is Jalen Pickett comes through with one of his best games ever. Love it.
Yeah, I've always liked Jalen Pickett, D, because one of the reasons I like Jalen Pickett is he's another point guard that can run the offense when Jamal needs a rest, right? So, and if he's hitting at outside shots, I mean, that's just, like you said, icing on the cake. It's just an added bonus, but he can be a floor general out there when Jamal Murray's off the floor. So that was great to see. You mentioned Cam Johnson. Boy, has he been awesome since he's come back from the biceps injury. Over his last 5 games at home, he's averaging 18 points.
Wow.
That's right about where you need him to be. But that's the thing with Cam Johnson. Like, I want Nuggets fans to understand this about Cam. He doesn't need to be averaging 23, 24 points a game.
No.
They don't need that from him. He needs to be right around where he has been over the last 5 home games, right around that 18-point marker. If he can get it up to 20, great. If he can, hit right around 40% from 3, that's all they need from him. That's the benefit of trading Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
You don't need Cam Johnson to be Michael Porter Jr. Why? Well, because, and I know we've talked about this, but I want people to understand, you can't view that trade as a 1-for-1 trade. I know that's what it was on paper.
Yeah.
But that trade, yes, you get Cam Johnson for MPJ straight up. That's the trade. But it also allowed you to sign Tim Hardaway, to trade for Jonas Valanciunas, to get Bruce Brown back. That's how you have to look at that trade. So you don't need Cam Johnson to be a Michael Porter Jr. type player, where MPJ, for as inconsistent as he was, he could go off for 30 points or more on any given night because he's that, offensively gifted. But I also think Cam Johnson is much better defensively than Michael Porter Jr. ever was. That's another added bonus that doesn't necessarily show up as much on the box score. So Cam Johnson's been awesome. I know the Nuggets are banged up right now, D, but the Magic are banged up too. I mean, they're missing Franz Wagner. They're missing Jalen Suggs. They're missing Tristan Da Silva, the kid out of Colorado, who Scott was very high on coming out of the draft. And they're missing Jonathan Isaac. So this was a game. I know the Nuggets are injured right now as well, but this was a game the Nuggets had to have. You can't be giving away many more home games this year if you want to keep pace in the Western Conference. Unlikely the Nuggets are going to catch the Thunder, but you never know. Sports are weird. They are.
Sports are weird. You're right.
Injuries happen, slumps happen. They just came off a championship run. Like, who knows? I mean, I doubt it's going to happen, but you want to at least be in striking distance if something weird happens to the Thunder. So it was good to see the Nuggets couldn't lose this game tonight.
Let me point something out about sports is weird. Just like a week or so ago, I think the Rockets and Nuggets were tied. And then I believe there was a game difference between the two teams when the Nuggets won. Well, you look at things tonight, the Nuggets now have a 3-game lead over Houston, Dan. 3 games. And Houston now is in 5th place. The Nuggets are in 2nd place. They've got a game over San Antonio, and they'll slowly start stretching things. By the way, I hate to interrupt our Nuggets conversation. But are you keeping a side eye what's happening on Thursday Night Football
The
right now,
last
man?
well, the last thing I saw was it was about 2 minutes to go and it was tied at 30.
In overtime.
And then I had to start the show.
I understand. LA scores in overtime.
Okay,
with
I've
an
just pulled it
extra
up on my
point.
phone.
Right now, I'll give you a little what's going on.
Oh my gosh, I just
Sam
saw it.
Darnold has taken the ball down the field. They've tied it. They're going for a 2-point conversion to win the game. They don't have to. They could just kick an extra point. But here goes Seattle in the battle of 11-3 teams, and now they call a timeout. And by the way, there was one of the goofiest 2-point conversions of all time. You should know that Seattle was down by 14 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They went for 2 on a backwards pass.
I saw that.
Everybody thought it was incomplete, but because it was backwards, it's technically a fumble. And Charbonnet picks the ball up to basically hand it to the ref. It's good. Your 2-point conversion is good.
Good on Charbonnet,
Yes.
That's why you always just act like the play it's going to count.
Yes, and I do apologize for those with basketball, but this is really
it's an
pretty
epic game.
Extraordinary, right?
This is an epic game.
It might be the best game of the year in the NFL.
Yeah.
With all things considered, and here we go for the 2-point conversion to win the game. They're going for it, which I love. They're at home in Seattle.
You got to go for it. You got to go for it. So the Rams scored in overtime first, I'm assuming.
They did. Oh my God.
Okay, so you got to go for it.
This is like torture with all the timeouts. So now they're calling
it's like an NBA game. It's like the end of an NBA game.
Yeah, I apologize. I feel bad about it, but I wouldn't interrupt if it wasn't coming down to literally just one play here.
I get it. By the way,
and yeah, sorry.
The Rockets lost in overtime to the Pelicans tonight.
How about that, man? And like I was pointing out, now they were tied not that long ago. Now it's a 3-game lead. The Nuggets have won 6 in a row, period. They've won 11 in a row on the road. And you face the Rockets at a weird start time, by the way, 3:00 on Saturday, which I think is great.
Scott said he doesn't like that. I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't understand.
Like the perfect time for a game on a Saturday.
That is awesome.
Give me that all day, every day on the weekends. Are you kidding me?
And we'll both be there, and we'll do what we do there. All right, here we go. Finally, I don't think they can call another timeout. So they've already called. No. Each team has called a timeout. 2-point conversion. Darnold in the gun. D. And they win. Wow.
Who won?
Wow.
Who won?
The Seahawks won.
Oh, they got it. Okay, I'm watching on the app, so I'm a little behind.
Sorry.
That's
the
all
Seahawks,
right.
They got the 2-point conversion. They threw it to a tight end. I'm not sure which one. Handshakes at the middle of the field. Darnold had another huge game. This is a epic win. Barner? I'm not really familiar with him,
but he caught the touchdown in the fourth.
Well, he just got the winning. He just got the winning 2-point conversion there.
I just saw it. Wow.
38-37. Seahawks in an epic comeback, a crazy 2-point conversion, trailing in overtime, responding with the touchdown, and then saying, screw it, we're going to go for the win at home, getting the 2-point conversion. Sam Darnold out battling Matt Stafford in an instant classic. Wow.
That was
okay.
Cool.
Sorry. There's your.
No, that was great. That was worth it. That was an epic game.
That was nuts.
I was keeping an eye on that while watching the Nuggets game.
All right.
So the Seahawks are leading the NFC West now.
They are leading the NFC West. So now the Rams are a wild card team.
What's crazy, just real quick, and we'll get back to the Nuggets. So since the Seahawks won tonight, they play the 49ers. There could be a scenario where every team in the NFC West, or 3 of the 4 NFC West teams, finish 13-4. All 3 teams.
That's
insane.
If
that happens, San Francisco will win the NFC West.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. 3 teams in one division finishing 13-4 is on the table in the NFL this year. Whew.
Wow. How about the Seahawks, by the way, just completely ripping off the University of Oregon Ducks uniform look? That's
I like them.
Thing.
I like them.
Well, yeah, of course. They look good on Oregon when when Oregon had them. So
looking like Bo Nix out there. All right, just one more thing here. Nikola Jokic becomes the all-time assist leader in NBA history for centers, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar tonight. We all know he's the best passing big of all time. But I will say, I don't know if I've kind of ranted to you about this before. Maybe I have, but I'll say it anyways. It bugs me when people say Joker is, one of the best passing bigs or even the best passing big of all time.
Mm.
That bugs me. No. He's one of the best passers in NBA history, period.
Yes.
Like, let's stop with he's one of the best passers for a big guy. No. He's one of the best passers ever to do it, period.
Yes.
Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, Magic, whoever. He's just as good, if not better than any of those guys dishing out the basketball. So I just wanted to congratulate Joker. He's going to, that could be a record, D, that Jokic sets for most assists by a center in NBA history that never gets broken.
Well, we'll see what kind of career Şengün has, right? He probably has the next best shot at getting it.
Probably, but I don't think he'll get there.
Wembanyama doesn't have that kind of game, but Şengün does. So we'll see. Maybe. But you know what, Dan? The big guy revolution in terms of skill is likely to keep going. And I'm all for it because I just think big men will not be stuck in a box like they have been for so many years when you see what the big man revolution has done to the NBA. Now, it's not easy to do, but I just think that younger big men will be given more opportunities to have a more total game than they have in the past.
And we'll see if the coaches put more of an emphasis teaching that skill set.
Well, they've clearly done that already for a long time in Europe.
That's what to say here in the States. That's
see.
What I can't wait to see if they're going to start teaching more of that skill set in the US.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yes.
I hope they do because it's the right way to play the game. That's what's so crazy about Nikola Jokic, DMAC. Obviously, he has talent like we've never seen before in the NBA, but like he just plays the game the right way. That's really all he's doing out there. LeBron said this about Nikola Jokic. He kind of compared it to what Tom Brady did with the Patriots in the NFL. I like the Jokic Brady comp because they're both lower round draft picks. A second round pick in the NBA, I would say, is about equivalent to a 6th round pick in the NFL, which is what Tom Brady was. They both aren't physical freaks of nature or athletic freaks of nature, but they have supercomputer brains. But the biggest thing that LeBron was saying was Nikola's best skill is he makes the right play every single time, no matter what.
Right.
That's exactly what Tom Brady did. He just makes the right play.
Right.
And that's what separates Nikola Jokic from other players in the NBA. It's really that simple.
Well said, my friend.
So, thought that was cool. All right, man. Good stuff. Good win for the Nuggets. They're 20-6. Boy, if they can beat the Rockets on Saturday, so updated standings, the Rockets are 16-8. Yeah, they're 3 games back of the Nuggets. The Nuggets can get a 4-game lead on Houston if they can win on Saturday. So
crazy.
Yeah, we'll
let's go.
We'll talk then. All right, man. Thanks you.
All right, Dan. We'll talk to you later. See you.
All right. Peace. Yeah, that's really cool. Good stuff there. I don't know if you all caught that, but Steve Nash actually was doing a podcast with LeBron. I encourage you to go check it out because they do get into Nikola Jokic, and LeBron actually had some really good, whatever you think about LeBron, and I'm not the biggest LeBron fan by any means, but the way he was talking about Joker and how he was describing why he's so dominant was really cool. It was just fascinating stuff. It's the way he sees the game. And again, like I just told DMAC, it's Joker just makes the right play every single time. And that is his best skill. And that's what Tom Brady did for years and years and years in the NFL. And that's what we're seeing Nikola Jokic do now with the Denver Nuggets. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for the post-game show. Appreciate you tuning in. Nuggets get the 126-115 win over the Orlando Magic. We'll be back on Saturday for reaction to Nuggets and Rockets. DMAC and I will be live from Ball Arena for that one. Big game coming up on Saturday, and we'll see if the Nuggets can improve to 21-6 on the year. Till next time, we'll talk then on In the Paint on Altitude Sports Radio.